Yeah, I was glad I could make it today. I had the week off of work, but normally I wouldn't be able to call in at 10.
Yeah, it's a weird time. It's hard to find a good time for people far flung. We do have some people in Europe who join us, but other times we've had people from Europe
Mm.
and New Zealand at the same time, which is just really opposite.
Wow.
So we always try to switch switch around a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Let's see.
For who does the bell toll?
That's our clock here in Madison. This is Bruce.
Oh, very good. Simple.
Hello. Is that John Waters? HTML? No. All right, so for people just coming on, it is 10, but we're going to give it a couple minutes for people to trickle in. So generally about 4 or 5 minutes after the hour, we start. So maybe I'll start just a little sooner so people can all just quickly say their name and where they are before we jump in. But I'm still going to give that a couple minutes. Hi, Morris.
Good morning.
How are you doing? Good to see you on here. This is Stephanie speaking. Yeah. Um, so in another minute, I am going to give people a chance to say who they are and where they are. After a bit, we'll mute everyone and have you type into the chat if you want to talk, just to minimize background noise. Or we might play it by ear. If there's not a lot of background noise, we might keep you muted, but we'll see. It is. It's 10:02, and generally we've had about everyone. We're going to have about 5 past the hour, but let's just start a couple of minutes. Let's just start now and go down the line and just say very briefly who you are, where you are, and really like 1 to 5 words about what brings you here. So if you're engaged in a particular kind of effort that you're excited about, but we'll just try to keep it brief so we make sure to get into the nitty gritty. And this is just a 1 hour call. So I'm going to start the check-in. I'm Stephanie Rurick. I'm in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm a founder of Mutual Aid Networks, and it comes out of the Dane County Time Bank. So that's our local initiative from which Mutual Aid Networks have been born. You'll hear more about that. Bruce, you want to go next?
Yeah, Bruce Moffett, also based in Madison, Wisconsin, and I split time on resource development between Dane County Time Bank and the Man.
Thank you. And just for everybody's information, I am recording this. If you have any issues with that or are self-conscious about having your information showed, let me know later and we'll have to cut around it. But for now, we're recording so we can share this later. All right, Chris?
Hi, my name's Chris Petit. I'm based in Oak Park outside of Chicago. I'm a co-coordinator of Mutual Aid Networks with Stephanie.
Thank you. Helen?
I am Helen. I am the nurse founder of the Wellness Weavers system, which I call the woman, since you guys are the man, wellness-oriented mutual aid network. And being a good Methodist, I work wherever I am to do however I can. Right now I'm in New York weaving with Columbia Business School. I'm looking for people for my main gears that are differently gifted than me so we can flesh out our system and be ready for the Man Up event.
Great. Thank you. Jack.
I'm from the south side of Chicago, Beverly area, if you're familiar with that. I'm a beekeeper, and I'm looking to get a site set up here.
Great. Welcome. John. You with us, John Quinlan?
John's having some trouble with sound. I just got an email from him.
Okay. I did hear a voice. That wasn't John? Okay. Julie.
No, that was me. That was Tim.
Okay. Let's go to Julie next.
Hi, I'm Julie Anderson, and I'm with CORE, which is Consulting for Organizational Reflection and Effectiveness, based here in Madison as well. And I'm totally fascinated by the Time Bank and Mutual Aid Network, and just looking at how that builds social capital, as we also at CORE try to build social capital among people. So,
Great.
Looking forward to this.
Great. Keely.
Hi, I'm Keely. I live in New Orleans. I'm just learning about all this. I'm really interested in it. I have a background in finance, and I'm interested in doing work involved with this down the road.
Great. Thank you. Morris.
Morris Fountain in Houston, Texas. And I've been involved with time banking for 9 years or so. And I'm still believing in 20,000 time banks in the Houston area.
All right. Thanks for joining. Tim.
Hi, Tim Dalton. I'm in New Jersey. I work with the Time Bank of West Milford, New Jersey, and I've been involved in some of these projects for a few years. And plans are coming together to come out there in August, so I'll give you more details of that when it's appropriate. I will be looking for someplace to stay.
Great. All right, good. I'm just about to start putting out the call. Yep.
I wanted to mention, Stephanie, I moved my GoToMeeting thing down to my equivalent of your doc there.
Yep.
And it seems to have worked.
Oh, good. Great.
Thank you.
So anyone else that hasn't spoken yet?
I just joined.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. You want to introduce yourself briefly?
Yes. Karen Hansen. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
I am a web designer and very interested in getting started with a local project in the Gainesville, Florida area, and looking for people that want to collaborate.
Wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else? John, do we have your voice yet? Okay, so John Quinlan is also here, and you guys will get a chance to hear from him because he just we just filmed an hour-long interview about the man, so we'll share that video with you, and maybe you can hear from John live today, but if not, you can hear his recorded conversation. So one more time, I am recording this. I'll give you a chance right now to yell up if you have any objections. Hearing none, the recording continues, and I will try to share this or a chunk of it later. So some of you are going to hear some things that you've heard before. What we're doing today is giving an overview, what mutual aid networks are and where we're at with them, but a bit more detail, so a bit less detail in the overview than we've given in the last few overviews, so we don't bore everybody. But also just what the next steps are right now, how we're leading into an in-person summit in August, and how we're moving forward from here and how you can plug in. So you will have a chance to ask questions and have a little bit of discussion. And we'll let you know how this web summit is going to unfold. Actually, before I start with the overview, I'll say a few words about how this is going to unfold, just so you know, because we won't, we're not going to get to everything today, and there's never any particular day when we'll get to everything, because there's a lot of thinking and activity behind this and that should result from this. But today we're doing the basics, setting up the framework for the Web Summit and how we expect events to unfold. Next week, we're going to start having some sessions that go a bit more in depth into individual tools that we're talking about using. As I give the overview today, you'll see what I mean by individual tools. The following week, we will take advantage. So the following week, July 15th, we'll take advantage of the fact that I'll be in the UK with Matthew Slater, who's the programmer of the time banking software that we use. And he's really helping us pull together sort of an ecosystem of tech tools. So we'll talk about how we expect those things to unfold. I'm sharing my screen right now, and you can see when I look at my notes, but I'm just looking at what we had written for other sessions. So we're changing the July 15th to talk about software and technical tools because we'll be in the UK. At some point after that, we'll break down some of the social processes that we intend to create to support mutual aid network activity. We'll keep having these weekly through August. So at some point, probably late July, we'll have a discussion in depth about different pilot sites. We'll check in on progress and just get a sense of what people need in our learning journey. And then we'll go into August. During August, we plan to bring people here to Madison for a Man Up Summit between August 20th and 28th. So we'll talk about that a little bit more today, but these learning sessions will go in through that in-person summit. We'll have a lot of opportunities for people to connect online when they can't be here in person during that. So any quick questions or any, Bruce or Chris, you have anything you want to throw in before we start? Okay, we have
Looks
just
like we have an additional person joining us.
Yeah, we have a couple additional people. So let's go ahead and hear very brief introductions from each of the new people who've joined us. So Eric, I see you've come in. Hello.
Good morning, everyone, or afternoon or night, wherever we're at here. That's why I was just having a conversation about what is it, daytime or nighttime? Anyways. My name's Eric Stephen Upchurch II. I'm working with the Time Bank and also more than interested in mutual aid networks. And I'm working with Stephanie and other folks on some of the technological aspects and just helping to iron some of this stuff out. But I'm really excited for what mutual aid networks could mean and will mean for our world. So I'm inspired to be on the line with people that want to change the world. I believe that's what we're doing. So with that, I'll shut up.
Great, thank you. I don't mean the great thank you about shut up. Thank you for what you said. So, Hashan?
Where is he?
Oh, here in Madison. Eric is in Madison. I just answered for him because he just muted his mic again.
Okay.
So,
good morning. This is Hassan Batts. I'm out of Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Great.
I work with a federally qualified health center called the Neighborhood Health Centers of the Lehigh Valley, and we are very interested in looking at becoming one of the pilot sites. We are really interested in the mutual aid network. We've been doing time banking for some time. So I actually have 3 interns in here with me, and also Janelle Zeckles here, who will introduce herself.
Great. Hello.
Hi, my name is Janelle Zelko. I'm the Community Exchange Liaison for Neighborhood Health Centers of the Lehigh Valley, and I work with Hassan Batts.
Wonderful. Thank you. Did you have anyone else there who wants to introduce themselves?
Hi. This is Nicole Ross, and I'm interning at the Neighborhood Health Center of Lehigh Valley.
Wonderful.
So we have a few more that aren't introducing themselves, but just so you know, our interns are the future of healthcare, and they're looking at equity and how to save the world, Eric. So you're not alone. We have a whole team.
Wonderful. I'm really happy you guys could join us. Barry?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, everyone. My name is Barry Corin. I'm based in the Chicago area, Oak Park specifically. We're combining a whole community approach with time banking and putting time banking in a marketplace where you can buy and sell with either dollars or hours. And that's me. Hi.
Hi, welcome. Thank you. And then I see this HTML viewer. Is that John Waters? Anyone else who hasn't introduced? Terry.
Stephanie, can you hear me now? This is John Quinlan.
Yes, hi. Brief introduction?
Hi, yeah. Yeah, this is John Quinlan. I'm working as a communications consultant with The Man. So we'll talk about this perhaps later, but we've recently just gotten a number of tools up, including Twitter and Facebook page. And also we have an interview that we want to showcase that Stephanie and I did last Friday. And it's great to be on the call.
Great. Should I share the link for that interview right here in the chat?
Yeah, you can do that. It's also now up on the web page on that
Excellent.
page that Chris created.
Oh, good. Okay, great. All right, well, you guys will have it in a couple places. Okay, and then Terry?
Hi.
Hello. I'll just give a brief introduction.
Terry Edlin, Chicago. My passion is promoting home sharing as economical, sociable, and flexible solution to our housing crisis.
Great. Thank you. All right, so we are going to jump into the overview just again. For those of you new into this, we are recording this to share later. Let me know if there are any issues with that. And you can talk to me afterward if you need something to happen differently from that. So I'm going to jump into an overview of mutual aid networks here. So mutual aid networks are our framework for do-it-ourselves economic justice and community resilience. And as many of you know, these are born out of the Dane County Time Bank. So we've had a pretty thriving time bank. We turned 10 this year. I am going to assume that you all know generally what time banking is, but I'm really happy to give a very quick overview if anyone doesn't. So please don't be shy to say if you want an overview of time banking. Anyone need that? Okay. So the thing that has kind of caused us to feel like a thriving time bank is we realized at a certain point early on that we could take time banking and use it to develop a resource base to do things we think need to happen that weren't happening. So we started thinking, instead of just applying time banking to how we already live, let's apply it to how we would like to live. And just realize there's so much activity that happens in the world, so much that people want to do that we kind of are waiting for permission for. We're waiting to be told that we can do it, or we're waiting to get money or some sort of request for proposals. And we realize we can create those things with time banking, but the time banking fills one piece of a healthy economy and needs to be connected with other pieces in order to flow better. So we felt that we needed different organizational structures and that we needed to pull alongside additional economic tools to make things really flow in creating a community-based economy. So one thing at a certain point in the development of our time bank and in sort of theorizing about how things should operate differently in the world, we kind of came back to the realization, I think for me it was the thing that caused me to start the time bank in the first place, is a need to redesign how we approach work in this country, in this society. So I've always had a suspicion that if everyone got to do what they really wanted to do, all the necessary jobs would get done and probably get done better, and we'd have a lot more interesting things happening in the world. So we realized that time banking and other economic tools really need to just be put into the service of giving people the opportunity to live the lives that they want to live, do the work that they want to do. And often the work that people would like to do is, in my opinion and in my experience, going to be more constructive, less destructive, more sustainable than the work that's farmed out to us by our current sort of corporate paradigm. So anyhow, we ended up looking at how to create an overall structure. So instead of making a time bank or making a currency or making an organization that's about a means of exchange, we realized at a certain point that that is the same thing as capitalism. Like that the system needs to not revolve around what you're using to exchange, and that it makes sense. We kind of take an ecosystem theoretical framework to currencies and economic exchange, and really different tools are appropriate for different levels and types of exchange. So we started seeing time banking and sharing and gift economies as very good for exchanging very abundant kinds of resources like creativity and caregiving and civic engagement, community building. But then there are things that we need that are more scarce, and it makes sense, and sometimes it's only possible to exchange some of the tools or some of the exchange means that are more scarce. So we do need money, for example, for part of the cost of running the time bank and the cost of running projects, and we do need some additional tools. So what we worked out is a way we could create a structure that's a cooperative that stewards these different tools in the service of redesigning work. So we have created this framework, mutual aid networks. It's a type of cooperative. The mission of mutual aid networks is to create means for everyone to discover and succeed in work they want to do with the support of their community. So you notice that it doesn't say anything about the tools we use, just says the mission. So we incorporated the main mutual aid network. We call it the Main Man. It's an umbrella co-op to connect all the people and projects who want to experiment with this and experiment actively and share that and really work on building a new kind of cooperative economy and build something that's global by creating a lot of local networks, a lot of networks based in different sizes and scopes, geographic reach, purposes, that the networks connect with each other. So we're incorporated as a 193 cooperative, as the Main Man. We're incorporated in Wisconsin, where we have really good co-op law, but we are a global cooperative in terms of being open for membership globally. So a mutual aid network cooperative can engage any and all of these tools, but it doesn't have to engage all of these tools. So we'll come back to this in a moment, but I'm just going to share right now also. We have a lot of potential mutual aid network pilot sites, and we call them MANs. Mutual Aid Network stands for MAN, or MAN stands for Mutual Aid Network. But we have a lot of potential pilot sites. And what constitutes a pilot site is any kind of initiative that's starting from any place with a cooperative economic framework and looking to add another level of complexity out of necessity, generally. So what I've been saying to people, if you have a time bank that's doing everything it needs to do, you don't need to worry about making a mutual aid network. But if your time banking is running up against limitations because you need money to cover your hard costs and you're having a hard time sustaining that, or you need money for projects, or you need to be able to make more of an interaction with the business community, then it could be a good thing to move into becoming a mutual aid network, to pull up some more sophisticated, some additional sophisticated tools in how you manage resource sharing and exchange and how you organize yourselves legally. So the time banking piece we know about, where we exchange time for goods and services, and everyone's time is valued equally, and there's no price on it. And as I mentioned, it's very good for exchanging things that are very abundant. But then for when we get into things that are a little bit more scarce, so my example is local businesses. Local businesses are at an unfair disadvantage to large corporations because of economies of scale. So we want a friendlier environment for local businesses a lot of times to help help them realize the community support they have and make it tangible. So one way that we can do that is through price-based mutual credit. So it's essentially very similar to time banking, where we're just shifting credits around between people's accounts, but those credits will have a price on them. So often denominated in dollars if you're in the United States. And the way it would work is my business could buy a cooler from your business for $1,000 worth of credit. And that credit, we just pay back to goods and services to other members of the network. But we pay taxes on that $1,000 just as if it was cash. And that's a way that we can have an avenue that is on the up and up with the IRS, clean, taxable, that can run alongside time banking without jeopardizing the tax exempt status that time banking has enjoyed over the years, and without jeopardizing the fact that we don't put a monetary equivalent on time banking. So one of the things that we intend to do, and that different man pilot sites intend to do, is experiment with the right relationship between these different tools. So price-based. Yep, go ahead.
How does a business get the first $1,000 worth of credit?
It would be you would set your policies in your own network. So I don't have the answers for each one. There are a lot of different business-to-business mutual credit systems that you would just look at their policies and adopt them. So a lot of times people will just establish a credit line. A lot of times people establish ways to have credit ratings and credit worthiness and things like that, just like any lending institution, but you establish them in your network and you're lending to each other essentially in goods and services. So it's all a matter of your own individual policy. And that's one really important part of mutual aid networks is we don't intend to be really prescriptive about anything. And when we talk about we are creating these things, we mean all of us who choose to participate. It's not that we have this little group of people here who's going to make all the tools and figure out all these policies. We're going to connect people who have been working on them. So I would really like to not mute everyone, and there's just a little background noise coming from one person. If you could pay attention to if that's you and mute yourself, that'd be great, because I would like to keep it so people can jump in when they want to. If the background noise gets to be too much, I'll mute everyone and have you type in the chat. So it's good for now. Thank you. Did that help did that help get toward the answer about how you get your initial? Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you. So I am also going to say, I think it's also easy for people to get an impression that we have all these things up and running. We don't. Price-based mutual credit for us and our own system has been pretty much on the back burner. We have had it available through our former local currency, Madison Hours, and it wasn't widely used. For us, the next piece is this piece that I'm about to talk about, just because it's the need that we feel most directly. So, sorry, go ahead.
One more question,
Yep.
Stephanie. Is there information available about Madison Hours? Is it still up online?
Yes, MadisonHours.org is still there. And then you're welcome to contact me. I know we have a number of articles, and actually we have a whole project. I'm going to type this in. Build for the World is our former project sharing site. I kind of consider it a prototype to some of the things that we're making now. It's really not supported. You'll see it has a bunch of spam on there, but there's still a lot of resources there. And we actually, the Dane County Time Bank and Madison Hours connected. Madison Hours folded, and we're taking on some of its functions. And that was about a 2.5-year process that was very deliberate. And that is actually what resulted in mutual aid networks. So there's a lot of information about that and the whole transition. And you can find it on Build for the World. And you can also, and you'll see it's called DCTB into Madison Hours, and it says mutual aid networks on there. And then I also cataloged a lot of it at this blog.timeftw.org. So yes, and that really led to a lot of the thinking that turned into mutual aid networks. So the community saving, lending, and investment piece. Now, for us, this is a really good, important next step for us. And as I mentioned, a lot of these structures are a response to filling in limitations of individual tools or systems. So for our time bank, hang on, I'm going to mute everybody right now. Okay. For our time bank, our main economic issue is it's very hard for us to constantly get the money to recover our costs or to pay the hard costs for a given project. And at a certain point, we learned about the JAK Bank in Sweden, which is about a 38,000 member cooperative bank, where very simplistically stated, members save their money there. Once you've saved for a certain amount of time and have met your obligations that everyone agrees to, you are eligible for a no-interest loan. And they also use that pool of money to fund projects that they agree on. So we learned about that, and then also things like the Mission Asset Fund in San Francisco, the very common tradition of immigrant communities pooling their money. We learned about African American mutual aid societies and social aid and pleasure clubs where they raise money by everyone pays dues into their club. They host social events periodically, and then they pool their money and they cover each other's expenses when someone has a healthcare expense or when someone needs to be buried, they help the family with a burial expense. And they also put on big social events every year. So we learned about these things and realized if we can pull together cooperatively managed money that operates alongside of time banking and other types of resources, we can really do a lot. And another key piece of this is we really want to create something that gives an alternative to investing in Wall Street, or in an alternative to just giving to a nonprofit when you want something to happen in a community. Not that there's it's good to help nonprofits, but we don't have very many good avenues for investing right into a community and paying the people in that community to do work. So part of this vision is you could donate your money right into a community pool, right into that mutual aid network. And that mutual aid network might be formed around a goal that you're interested in. Put your money right there, and then you know that group of people is going to identify the work that needs to be done to meet that goal, and they are going to choose how that work gets done, and they can be compensated to do that work, and they can choose to bring people from outside their community when they want to. I'll get into the processes that support that in a minute, but for us, that's a big piece. And I did mute everyone, so please type into the chat if you have questions. So the next piece is sharing. And we just really wanted to really explicitly refer to that. We don't want to take the approach that a lot of complementary currency or alternative economic people do, where we end up with the tacit assumption that everything is owned privately and individually. And we really believe that building more shared resources will make us all richer. And by shared resources, it can be all kinds of things. It can be something simple like having baby clothes in a tub that anyone can use when their baby's the right size and put it back. It can be a tool library. It can be a maker space. So anything, but we really explicitly want to build the commons with mutual aid networks. Okay, I will unmute people for a moment to see if anyone wants to jump in or ask questions. Anything? And Chris, Bruce, and John, you're welcome to throw in if you think there's something I should be focusing on right now. All right.
Stephanie, this is Tim.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just wondering where we can get hold of this Prezi.
I will give you the link. And Chris, I'm not sure if you've put it on our website yet, but we're starting to populate the resources page of the mutualaidnetwork.org site. So we will put all these things up there as we have them ready.
Yeah, and it's also in the summit page I put in the chat. So if you go to mutualaidnetwork.org and What is Men, and then click on Web Summit, the resources for this presentation and future presentations will be there.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? All right. We'll get back to it. And I'll just try to zip through quickly.
Stephanie, is community saving lending further developed, or is that primarily concept?
Well, it's very well developed.
Yes, and I am.
Helen, are you talking? Helen? Is that you?
Excuse me.
Okay. It is very well developed in a lot of places. We haven't done it yet here, but Stephen Hinton, who's on the board of the JAK Bank in Sweden, is going to come here in August and help us learn how they set theirs up. And we're going to be looking for some financial institutions to partner. And I've invited some additional participants from Sustainable Economies Law Center. So we expect to have people with experience here in Madison. And it's a good question, because I do want to stress that every single one of these components is very well developed in its own context. What we are doing that's new is connecting them very explicitly. So to me, that's...
Stephanie?
Yep.
This is Tim. I just want to stick real quick something in here. This last weekend, I went with my daughter down to Philadelphia. They had part of the U.S. Social Forum was down there, and I attended a meeting on the Solidarity Economic Movement and connecting regions for economic justice, and met people from all over the world there that are working on different aspects of this, and obviously it parallels a whole lot of what you're talking about right now. I want to make sure that we get hooked up into their network. I might put some links up on the pages that Chris was talking about, and I wondered if that's appropriate, if there's someplace else we might put some of that information.
Tim, go ahead.
I'm just saying it'd be great to have that, and Chris can tell you where to put it. But someone started to speak. Who was that?
This is John Quinlan. Tim, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because I mentioned this in a few meetings with Stefan, Bruce, and Chris. The Social Forum Network, I think, is definitely very resonant with everything we're trying to do. So I'll be in touch with you offline. I'd like to hear more about your experiences in Philadelphia. I worked on a lot of that in the context of the Midwest Social Forum stuff. And again, it's a great connection.
That's great.
Just in general, and great things to share as we go along, as we try to expand the networks of people that are involved with us.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely, and I will mention they're planning to have the World Social Forum in Montreal next year.
Yeah, actually,
so keep that in mind, and I'll mute.
That came up at I just had this wonderful opportunity to go to Rome for a gift economy festival, and met Kevin from P2P Foundation and talked with a number of people about proposing a thread on commonism, building the commons, and with mutual aid networks and P2P Foundation and a lot of a lot of people with common values. So let's talk a lot more about that. And when we bring people to Madison this August, I think that could be a really good time to move forward planning for next August and proposing that thread.
That's a great idea. Yeah, we will talk for sure, because I met a whole lot of really neat people. There's some good stuff going on all over.
So happy you could go. And I want all of you, so we are really working on sharing all our resources, the one-pagers that we've made, the Prezi, and that's a next step, is to really help everyone, help all of you build your ability to present this locally, build your confidence in discussing this and in developing pilot sites of your own. So that is top priority right now. All right, so back into this overview. So those are the basic tools. Oops, sorry, I ended up getting backed up somehow. And then the next piece is the processes to support these tools in a functioning system. So one piece is really helping people redesign their work and really explicitly recognize some of the values of mutual aid networks come from time banking core principles, that all work is valuable. And really extrapolating that into people's sort of job descriptions and design of your work life. How do you want to spend your time? Maybe you really enjoy doing your professional work, but maybe you'd like to do it 20 hours a week instead of 40 hours a week. And how do we explicitly encourage people to pursue their creative pursuits, to do work in their neighborhood supporting people with disabilities or beautifying or improving the built environment? So what we intend to do is create tools to help people really identify how you'd like to spend your time, and then identify how you could be supported in each area of work. So for example, helping people in your community, taking care of people with disabilities, planting gardens, beautifying it, that might be much easier to earn time bank hours for. And when we put it together in a functioning system with other people earning time bank hours, we increase the incentives and the ability for that to be really a meaningful part of your budget, for example. I'm hearing some. Yes, Eric, you should be able to see the Prezi. So you want to, sorry, I'm just answering a couple questions on the chat. If you're not seeing it, you want to click on your GoToMeeting icon, because you probably just ended up off of that screen. And Chris, maybe you can type with Eric about how to see the screen if he's still not seeing it. So this next piece I mentioned about the work redesign. The next piece is really helping people creating budgeting tools. Sorry, I'm going to mute everyone again. I'm just hearing some background noise. So there's some piano, and if you can identify that as yourself and mute yourself, that's great. Hearing none. I'm muting. Okay. So in the robust budgeting piece, creating budgeting tools that just simply show how you can really meet your needs with things other than money. So getting really explicit, your energy line, your housing line, your childcare line, how can you reduce the cost in a given line? So for example, we would create a 3-year budget that people could use. First year, your energy amount is this. Now we reduce it because we're participating in a conservation effort. Now in year 3, maybe some of it's starting to turn into an income stream because we're participating in a solar co-op. Same with childcare line. Maybe it goes down because we're building up the time making supports. Or your housing line, perhaps that's going down because we've created a savings pool that helps pay off people's debt, going from the highest interest loan first, so you can pay less in interest, and then the amount that you're paying is going to feed your savings pool instead of feed the bank that it was going to. So just budgeting that really helps get explicit about how you meet your needs. In my dream world, this results eventually in really having a culture where it's more fun and enjoyable to find all the different ways you can meet your needs, and money is a last resort because we want it to be. Money is less needed because we know we have this pool of money that we can draw on when we have a health expense. So we feel less pressured to stockpile a bunch of money ourselves. So then next piece, project facilitation assistance. This is big, and this for us has been really inspired by Art of Hosting, the Berkana Institute, Walk Out, Walk On. But really what we want to do is just help create the tools and technical assistance so people can understand how you come together as a community of people, identify your common goals, identify that work that needs to be done to make those goals happen, and to do that work, and to commission work from each other, and to commission work from people outside of your community when it makes sense, and to just effectively do the things that we want to do. A lot of what I feel we are doing is helping people relearn how to dream, relearn that big dreams are possible, and learn how to make them real by supporting each other to do it. All right, and then the last piece, community investment assistance, really building the social and legal and financial processes for investing into the community pool and managing how you want to spend that money. So those are the tools, and the way we see this unfolding are we will have up to, right now we have about 15 different potential pilot sites for mutual aid networks. I'm going to skip ahead. We have a really awesome working board and advisory board, but I'm going to go to the pilot sites because I started talking about that. All right, so first of all, how to become a potential mutual aid network pilot site. First of all, you have a community improvement initiative for which you'd like to develop additional tools. As I mentioned, if you're rocking and rolling with the one tool that you're using, you don't necessarily need a man. You need your initiative's decision-making body to want to do it. That's very important. You see a way that participation could be mutually beneficial. It benefits your own initiative because you have access to these tools and supports, and you're willing to share what you do and support additional mutual aid networks. You or someone you work closely with would like to take responsibility for stewardship of your site, ideally with a 3-year commitment. And that's for a number of reasons, including we want to play with this 3-year budgeting tool and really see how we can reduce our costs by committing to this vision for 3 years. And that you're willing and able to secure additional resources to support your local project. So one of the things that we are talking about doing and that we plan to do, and of course it depends on how much sense it makes for everybody moving forward, but we have talked about having the pilot sites do a joint crowdfunding campaign and look to raise $100,000 per pilot site for 3 years, seed money. And this is all very flexible. Of course, no one would be held to doing that, or people, your local needs trump any sort of bigger, idea that we've had about doing it. But we figured $100,000 is really good seed money for 3 years. It could give a steward or a team of stewards the understanding that you can have $30,000 a year for security. You can make that go farther by putting in these other tools and doing additional fundraising. You document how you make it go farther. But we feel that that could really give us a good basis from which to experiment with this and grow it. So the potential pilot sites, we have a lot of potential pilot sites doing really interesting things. At a future web summit, we'll really start, and we'll probably have a few devoted to pilot sites. So you heard that we have a group of people here from a federally accredited health center that's going to be a pilot site. It's super exciting. Scott Murto is doing some really interesting stuff that'll involve being able to do soil and water testing for other manned pilot sites. We have a couple different ones here in Madison, one around the Social Justice Center where our office is located, and then one in the Allied Community Co-op, which is a neighborhood really working on building food security in a food desert and really building health and wellness in the neighborhood. So the idea is we will have pilot sites at different sizes, different scopes. You can make a manned pilot site for any purpose as long as it fits within our overall core principles, but it doesn't have to be an altruistic purpose. It can be to redesign the work lives of the participants. It can be to develop a better art and culture scene. It can be a travel and culture exchange that's global. It can be restoring a watershed. So really, the idea, though, is that you start in a lot of different types of locations from a lot of different points of strength, from a lot of different points of need. And by doing it at the same time and learning from each other, we really learn a lot all at once about what tends to work well under what local conditions. And we can do sort of rapid experimentation and sharing back with each other how things are going. So that's the idea, is we have our individual pilot sites, and then we are connected between pilot sites and also individuals who just want to join up and support in the main man. And part of the point of that for me is really creating opportunities for all the very many people around the world who are thinking about this and working on developing cooperative economic frameworks. Create a lot of opportunities for them to connect with each other. Like, there are a lot of very excellent thinkers and writers and designers who really aren't connected with a local community of practice and would like to be. So here's a chance in the main man to really help those individuals find the communities that want to apply their ideas. So having muted everyone, I still hear the piano music, so I'm not sure where it's coming from. But okay, now I know where it's coming from. I'm gonna unmute everybody except where that sound was from. So I'm gonna give you a chance to jump in if you want to. And at the same time, I'm going to go back a couple slides to show you what I skipped over. But does anybody want to ask a question or share anything about a pilot site or potential pilot site? Okay.
Stephanie, this is John Quinlan. I just wanted to punctuate what you said about the crowdfunding project. If we haven't announced this to everybody, we did put up an Indiegogo website last night. You can find it just by going to Indiegogo.com and searching for Mutual Aid Network.
Let me find it. Let's put it in. Let's put it in the chat, Chris.
Sure. Yeah, it's in that email I sent you last night. The specific link.
Chris, could you put it in the chat, please?
I will.
Thank you. Yes. So.
Yeah, go ahead, Stephanie.
Okay, so let's see, where do we find the guidelines for the pilot site letter of intent? We have a memorandum of agreement. It's not totally finalized, but it's close. So Chris is putting so Chris just put the Indiegogo thing in there. Chinyuri, is your audio still breaking up? Okay.
I'm doing fine.
Do other people have audio that's breaking up?
Yeah, mine is, but I can still understand everything.
Okay. So, and who was just speaking?
I'm sorry, that was Keely.
Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know how to.
It's just breaking up with John for me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, John, I don't know if you knew that. It was breaking up quite a bit.
Okay.
So Chinyuri, maybe hang up and call back in if it's really bad, because I don't know how else to tell you to fix it. I'm sorry. Okay, so John Quinlan mentioned the Indiegogo site, and that is for funding for the Man Up Summit. So the Man Up Summit, I have an extremely rudimentary schedule getting going, but essentially we are bringing people to Madison for mutual learning, collaboration, launch extravaganza. And stuff's going to be happening here and there throughout the month of August, but especially concentrated between August 20th and 28th. At first I was saying 27th, and I'm just going to really have to see how much time people are able to spend here. It'd be great if we could go through the 28th, but we have a number of events already scheduled, including some that are connected with the Forward Technology Festival, so we can connect with a tech group here who might be able to become a core of a team that can help us meet our technical needs. Our software programmer from Weezer is coming, Julien, and Weezer is a French open source project that's been doing our, and they have created our project management and exchange software that we're using. And so they'll be here to help really turn this into the thing that meets our needs best. And so we are looking for people to help fund people's travel expenses. We also have James Priest coming and doing in-depth sociocracy training. We've been applying a lot of sociocracy principles to what we're doing, and so we'll really get a chance to learn about that. We'll have stuff about restorative justice and just really in-depth discussions. We're creating a man-up simulation game. So there's a lot of room for you to help create. There's a lot of room for you to come and learn, and there's a lot of room for you to help influence this agenda too. So if there are things you want to lead, if there are things you want to see, we want to hear from you. So Hassan is asking about timelines, and I didn't make this clear about pilot sites. So the Main Man has soft launched, and right now we're looking for people to become members and get in and play with it and help shape it, and we'll do a proper public launch in August. Pilot sites launch on their own timeline. So The initial 15 pilot sites that have expressed interest, those are just people who have found us and who have been working toward this for a while. We want people to come online whenever they are able to. So we don't have a very clear expectation of what your timeline is. Right now, with the initial group of pilot sites, we're talking a lot and working through stuff, and we'll try to come to some conclusions together, and we'll want to do a crowdfunding campaign launch together. So in terms of deadlines for pilot sites, I would say that's the main thing to think about is who can be really ready to go and certain that they want to be a pilot site by August, which is when I believe we'll be ready to launch a crowdfunding site for pilot sites. So I'm going to suggest if you want to be a pilot site, really be exploring it between now and August. Consider coming here for Man Up Month and solidifying it at that time, and we can launch our crowdfunding campaign together. But there is nothing at all about mutual aid networks that's set in stone, and it's all a work in progress that we do together. So Hassan, if that answers your question, that's great. If you have additional questions, please feel free to ask. I've had our advisory board up here on the screen. It's a very exciting group of people. We will probably continue to flesh it out more for more regions around the world, but I'm really excited that we've added Bayo recently. He's from Nigeria, now lives in India. The Yes Men, some heroes of mine for a long time. Michelle Bowens of P2P Foundation, John Bloom, RSF Social Finance, Edgar Kahn, founder of Time Banks USA and the main popularizer of time banking in the modern era, Charles Eisenstein, Deborah Fries, Manish Jain, Bernard Leoter, Vicki Robin. So we're pretty excited about that luminous group of people. We're going to be asking them to be featured guests at some of these web summits, so you get a chance to meet them. A few of them will be coming here in August, including Bayo, so plan to come and meet him. He's amazing. Our working board is many of the fine people on this call. It's mostly comprises mostly people who are part of pilot sites, and Karen, who made our website, Matthew Slater, who does really a lot of work on the technical aspect of things. And some ways that you can engage to start. First of all, you can join the main man. You can do that at mutualaidnetwork.org, which we've typed in here a number of times. So I was just about to type it in again, but that's redundant. You can just go there and go ahead. What did you say? I'm sorry. Were we supposed to hear? Okay. So you can join, and when you join, you are asked to pay member dues. You can talk to us if that's not feasible for you, but you'll see on there it recommends a sliding scale of member dues. When you join, you then become a member and you have a vote in mutual aid networks. Another thing that we're going to do in August is have our first general membership meeting. So right now we're the interim board, self-appointed. We've adopted bylaws that we've finalized ourselves, but our first general membership meeting, that's when you elect the board for real. You could decide to run for the working board if you aren't on it currently. That's when we finalize our bylaws for real, and that's when we really get ready to do our big public launch. So go ahead and join the Mutual Aid Network if you are ready. And at the same time, you can choose what working groups you'd like to participate in. So, oops, I'm sorry. I don't usually do these kind of prezzies, and obviously not great at it. I keep getting off of the slides I intend to be on. All right, so our communications working group will be working on fleshing out this summit, for example, but how we do all of our communications and crowdfunding. Our financial work group is dealing with our internal funding to get our core expenses covered for the rest of the year, but also really re-envisioning how we approach financing. So one example is we're pulling together a funders circle to have philanthropists and funders really help design the vision for how we create ways to invest right into communities that are better for funders and fundees. so you can help with that. Our legal working group, I think, speaks for itself, and we engage really good legal minds on this. Our social working group, decision-making, governance, how we cooperate with each other, how we staff this, and our technical working group, dealing with our technical needs. So, and the core principles you can see on the website. I'm not going to take your time with it now because we are almost out of time. This graphic, I think, starts to show how we intend to get at a real solidarity economy by creating networks of actual trust, actual resource sharing and exchange based around common values, common core principles, and then extending trust with our other networks because we're engaging based on our strengths and needs, and again, connected by our core principles, connected by our commitment to sharing these tools and practices, and our commitment to building a new economy of the commons. So really the explicit goal is to create an economy, create a situation where every person on the planet can be connected with a mutual aid network that can be connected indirectly with every other person on the planet. So we look forward to your helping build this solidarity economy, and we're going to wrap up this call in just a minute. We'll join again next week with some homework. The week after, I'll be in the UK, and I'll have Matthew Slater, our software programmer, with me, and hopefully a couple other esteemed guests from the UK. And in the meantime, let's just hear if anyone has any last-minute questions or things that I didn't mention that you want to throw in. And someone's asking for a list of the membership of working groups. And Chris, I'll let you answer that, because if it's not there, we'll put it up somewhere. So, and just so you guys know, it's been, there's been quite a lot of work to do to lay the groundwork for all this stuff. So there's a whole lot of populating of the website that we haven't yet gotten to, etc. So every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central are these calls until further notice. And here is, I have a rough schedule that I'm just going to paste into this chat. And the one change that has happened is, I'm going to put this with the gears, because I think we're going to do something to go in depth on the different components of the gears, but we might just do a recorded thing for that. And for July 15th, we will be connecting about technical tools. So that is the rough schedule. All right, any last minute questions or want to throw anything in?
Will these chat notes be available after we complete this session?
They will be available on the recording. So I'm going to share this recording on our Web Summit page that Chris shared up here earlier. And that also has a link to the website. And we'll try to just take out the links too and make them easier to find. I don't want people to have to look at this whole recording for that. So the recording will be posted and these things will be in the chat, but we'll also try to break out the links and make sure you have them separately.
Steph, if you can hear me,
yep.
Again, the video is a great tool for explaining this to other people, that hour-long video we did together. We're going to break it down into smaller parts to make that easier too.
Yes, please use it and do whatever you want with it. And for everybody, you are always encouraged to use anything that we share.
The other thing I mentioned briefly was too, that if, as we're developing our own communications tools for MAN, if there are things we're learning along the way that I can transfer to you, if you need help with some of your communications issues, please get in touch with me.
Great.
And I would just wanted to point everyone, so if you go to the MAN Web Summit page, all the links that we have in the chat are in there.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I have some. Wanted to let everyone know that while we were on the talk, I added the Twitter and Facebook group links to the site. You can see them floating around there at the bottom.
You just rock.
So please.
I just saw him fly in a few minutes ago.
So you guys
Yeah, I
are
see him.
a fantastic group.
Follow us
and
on Twitter.
those of you who are just joining us, I'm extremely pleased to welcome you to this wonderful group of people, and everyone else who's been on this for a long time. People have really just come to this in all different ways.
What do I do?
Whoa,
Jack.
hang on. All right, so I just muted one. So I will say some of the people who are on this call I still haven't met in person and have just showed up and done amazing, beautiful work, and it's just been a complete pleasure to work with everybody who's joined up with this project, and I think that those of you who are new to it will hopefully find the same thing. And to me, nothing feels better than just finding all these people around the world who have a similar vision of how we could make something really beautiful and amazing and are willing to go for it. So I think that things are going to be really fun. I really appreciate that you've joined us today. And I'm just going to, I'm not going to, let's just go down the line. Pass if you don't want to say anything. Check out if you want to check out. And we're going to wrap up the call now. You can throw in if there's another last minute thing or question that you have. And otherwise, we'll just be wrapping up. So I already said my thanks. Barry, anything from you?
Stephanie, you've done another great job. Thank you so much for doing the work you do.
Thank you. Bruce?
Yes, very enjoyable, and looking forward to talking with folks in future encounters, either in Madison or on a web summit, about how we can leverage resources together, both for local sites and to support the overall Maine Man.
Great, thank you. And you guys, as you are thinking of the thing, I mean, poke around the website and see what kind of learning materials you find. But as you think of things that you know this kind of information would be really helpful to have in this way, let us know, because we're working on building that. Karen.
Yes, hi everybody. I wanted to thanks again, Stephanie. You are really pulling a heavy load with this, and we all appreciate you. I wanted to encourage everyone to go to the Facebook page and join the group, and follow on Twitter and share those links around, because you know this is really important work. And I was a good example of somebody who just found out about this, have no access to any kind of information besides what I look on the internet to try to find things about time banking and so forth, and just got involved, and now I'm really reaching out for people in my local area, will be to that can be more feet on the ground, because I'm more behind the computer screen. But please share the links and get as many people into the group as you can.
Cool, thank you so much. And Chinyuri typed her message, so you guys can read that in the chat. Thank you, Chinyuri, and yes, we want to connect with Producia, so it'd be great if they can come here in August. Chris.
Thanks, everyone. Great to be with all of you. If you have questions, feel free to email me or Stephanie. I noticed there was a typo in the email address I put in the chat, so it's info@mutualaidnetwork.org, or you can reach me at chris@mutualaidnetwork.org, or Stephanie at steph@stephanieweir.com. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Eric.
Unmuted. Can people hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I just want to say that I love every time I get to see this presentation, and what's happening is becoming more and more involved and robust, and the mutual aid that we're giving each other right now, I feel is like it's practicing what we preach, and if we can keep doing this, I know that what comes of it will be beautiful. Like I said in the beginning, I'm very inspired and thankful to be able to collaborate and work with people and learn from people that also want to change the world in this way. So thank you to you all, and that's all I have.
Thanks. Hassan.
Stephanie, I want to thank you for helping us develop an elevated speech. So this has offered us some clarity and an overview so that we can begin to have some real discussions on a local level. We want to thank you guys, everyone else, just for knowing that the support is out there. We look forward to working with you.
Great, thanks. Likewise. Helen.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Great job, and I appreciate all of you core people continuing to move the ball forward. And it's good to see that there were 15 people mostly on this call. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Jack.
Well, thank you, Stephanie, and everyone that participated. Again, I'm just basically starting out, trying to get information. But I talked to other people, and probably next week they'll be involved.
All right.
Thanks again.
Great, thanks. John?
Ditto about what everyone said about the collaborative ethos we're trying to create here is modeled so well here with all of you and with everybody who's involved. I just wanted to punctuate again, go to that video as you have a chance, and if you could help us with a task that Bruce and some other people have also kind of embarked on, look at the video, help us to break down pieces you see in it that you think need to be shared more widely, both in terms of the concepts, but we can also, again, subdivide this. We'll also put up a YouTube page soon where again, you can watch this whole, the whole video. We're going to be doing more of this down the road, but any feedback you can give us about what you find to be most effective in terms of sharing it with the rest of the world. And that's the biggest point here is now's the time. Indiegogo has this language about making a noise about what we're doing, getting it out into the world. Now's the time to make the noise.
All right, thank you. Keely.
Hi, I'm really inspired by everything that I learned, and I'm really excited to keep learning more and more. I'm definitely going to be digging through all the resources you put up and watching what happens.
Great, thank you. Tim.
Hi, Stephanie. As always, it's been a great pleasure. I really want to jump onto what Hassan and John both said about talking it up. That's the best way to refine your elevator speech. In my experience, I talk to every person I see about this stuff.
Awesome.
So I look forward to seeing you guys in person and talking about it a lot then, too.
Great.
So, thanks for everything.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, you guys have been wonderful, and we will talk to you somehow next Wednesday. Chances are we'll be just giving you some video to use for next week, and then the following week we'll be talking to you from the UK, going into how we expect software tech tools to develop in service to this project. So look forward to connecting with you more, and take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye.